Hello everyone. This channel is dedicated to processing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I am the movie critic, right? I am the reason he canceled his film, The Movie Critic, last year as a result of the reviews that I wrote, but also as a result of the savage essay that I wrote. And so, right, when I didn't bend to his psychic whim at a screening of Jackie Brown at the NeroCon last year, right, I was in the front row, right, but right, when I didn't complete the scene, he and the degenerates that hang out with him, right, that he spends his time with, right, entered into a Faustian covenant to compel me to lose my mind, right, which has been the inspiration behind this novel, right? I've written a novelization of my experiences. It's called Building a Coven, as in a witch's coven, right? And so, right, this channel never had to exist, right? This channel never had to exist, right? In April, right, when he really descended into evil by stealing my wisdom, stealing my intellectual light, my spiritual fire, right? Because he understands nothing. He's a child floundering in the ocean. Right? But when he drew that line in the sand and said, okay, now you go, I said, no, we're good. You're sick. You're a sick, evil man. And I'm so disgusted that I ever thought that you were cool. So you keep my fucking scene. You call that my fucking sacrifice to the temple of Baphomet and just fuck off anywhere else. Right? This thing that we're playing at right now, right? He's a fucking pussy, that's my point, right? And if I put that evil on him, right, he'll send people to kill me. That's what he'll do, right? Because he's, I want to say awful things, but, right? He's a goddamn demon. That's a nice way of putting it, right? Right? So, right? Friendly reminder, right? Quentin appropriated Brad Pitt's spousal abuse as the subplot for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Cliff Booth and Brad Pitt are the same person. Brad Pitt won his Oscar for beating up his wife on an airplane and getting away with it. Right? So, 1 through 8, films 1 through 8, have Harvey Weinstein doing God knows what. And who's never done multiple Quentin Tarantino films? Any woman that was ever cast in any of his films, right? Kill Bill's one movie. 2 shoots for 1 movie, right? And what you think he did to her, right? Right? So, right, that's, right? Just so that we're all caught up here, right? So sexual abuse running through films 1 through 8, right? Any woman that was in any of those films, 100%, right? And then with 9, right, the first one he makes without him, he appropriates spousal abuse, right, as the subplot. Right? It's the same story, right? It's not a similar story, it's the same story. This is what writers do, right? They change the name, they change the location, right? Brad Pitt smacks up his wife on an airplane and never gets charged about it. And so the character, Cliff Booth, murders his wife with a spear gun on a boat and gets away with it, right? Out of the air and into the water, right? Right? Assault becomes homicide, right? And so when I think about how long it's gone on, like how we're still, right? And so the reason that I started this channel again is because he kept torturing me. He has continued to torture me even after I took everything down and said, no, we're good. And so I don't know, right? Like I don't know what is occurring here, right? That he could, right? Right? Fuck you. Take your movie. Take the scene. Right? Right? And then he says, I want you to sue. Right? And so I did. I filed suit. Right? Right? With my money. Right? I don't have $100 million. Right? I don't have Sony backing me. Right? So we're talking about it. Right? Because he's a sick, evil, degenerate man. That video, right? That video, a plea to the Pope. Like this is what I'll say about it because we're talking about it. Who cares? No, I'll say that for another time. No. I could say it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're talking about it. Who cares? Right? Right? Quentin, right, is a base, degenerate man, right? And so, right, the Cannes Film Festival, right, supports spousal abuse. The Burbank International Film Festival supports spousal abuse. The mayor of Burbank doesn't care about women's rights. She supports spousal abuse. Right? The mayor of El Segundo supports spousal abuse. Right? They support white men beating up their women and getting away with it. Right? So that we're all caught up. Right? Lifetime achievement to a guy who let his boss do sexually depraved things to every woman that was on any of his films, and then appropriated Angelina Jolie getting beaten up, right, as literary cannon fodder. That's right, that's your guy, right? That's your guy, right? The foot thing is all misdirection. It's all bullshit, right? And I've stolen all of his secrets. I can't stress that enough, right? I could throw him under the bus, right? And it's hilarious, right? And I probably will if this thing keeps going, right? But we're reading through the novel. We're talking about the nature of reality, right? Quentin is a powerful psychic clairvoyant, the most powerful in show business. I am the most powerful clairvoyant of the millennial generation. I am the millennial dragon, right? So, for all that he says that I'm not well, the truth is that neither of us are well. That's the point, right? He has engendered a pathological psychology in both of us, right? Well, we both exist as psychic phantoms in the other's mind, and he's gotten swallowed by me just as much as I've gotten swallowed by him, right? That they all have. Right? Is it just him and Daniela? Is there like 4 people? Right? Building a Coven is a perfect name for this book, right? Because that's what has to occur, right? You think that this is just it's gonna stop, right? Like, no, it's gonna, as long as he has his arms crossed and says, no, I'm famous, I'm the one with the money, I can be as evil as I want to be. Right? Even after he pays me, if there's no true reconciliation, I have to have my legion of clairvoyance, just like he has his. And we'll both just pay people to remote view us, right? Right? Because I have to. Right? This has nothing to do with want, right? This is about survival, right? This is not, right? Like I've never been interested in remote viewing, right? Never have been. It's a violation, right? Doesn't mean I don't know how to do it. Right? Those are 2 different things, aren't they? Right? Now we can come together, right? That's, right? We ain't got to make the movie, right? Like, you can play your fucked up mind games, right? Like that's all fine and dandy, but honestly, we need to make the movie together. That's as far as our sanity, right? Right? That he's not prepared for this to endure for 20 years. No. And if he is, then that just makes him even more fucked up. Right? That's just him. Right? My point is that we both failed our initiation. Right? And I'm about to start reading on this novel. Right? That he was trying to initiate me into the lesser mysteries of show business. Right? Right? As far as money. Right? But the reality, right, is that, right, I'm light years past anything he could ever teach me. He could direct me as a director. Right? We could talk about the movie. Right? Right? But I was initiating him into the greater mystery of love, right? Which is the foundation, right? It is the expression of God's omniscience, right? And we'll talk more about that after I finish my reading. So, building a coven, I'll pick up where I left off. I never intend to cut, deep or otherwise, only to be honest. Blasphemy, I know, depending who you ask. Fucking Alistair. I'm so sorry, he says, but then I'm going to play Hamlet, and then I'll be back and it'll be better than it ever could have been. He tells me, all you see is pointless suffering. But they all assure me it's towards something. I've never felt more lost than now. It's all real, don't worry, Chloe tells me. What a fucking mess. It was all a sick fucking joke to her. Ha 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 ha, now he'll think twice about loving anything. and my soul, Willow's, is as black as pitch. Pointless adolescent intrigue. A complete waste of time and resources. I've never wished for anyone to suffer, but now I see some people are deserving of the rack. Annabella chides that she reduced this mountain of a man with a radiant moral compass, and she brought me down to her level. Congratulations, what a conquest. She finally found a mind that she will forever reckon with. Good versus evil. Primeval mess. Fuck you, Willow. Lisa tells me she was shown the poems and fell in love, which Alistair assures me wasn't his design. We're all crying and he's apologizing because he knows I trusted him and that I just need these months to recuperate and I'll be back. This little girl is breaking my heart. She is speaking Spanish to me, and I let her write in my book and helped her count. The two of them, her and her voluptuous mother, sit across the aisle from me on the bus. The bus is moving. Willow asks, "Is it really over?" To which her father replies, "It never even began for you. But hopefully his suffering is coming to a close." Now he knows I have to get to New York from Memphis with no money. And so I have more suffering ahead, in all likelihood. Clay assures me everything's real. And I'm coming back to play the journalist. That Alistair was very adamant in his correspondence, email I believe, about how much he loved me and how much they all love me. That Willow is the only one who loves nothing. She is shallow and weak and cowardly. She has no strength. She has no honor or goodness. Only pure malevolence. I loved a lie. Annabella's father offers his assurances. Tells me everything he said yesterday was true. That now we have this year to set everything right. I awoke hearing Motel Garden State, which again I chided her horrendous tacky taste, and reminded her that the Eagles suck. Though when they said, "And still those voices are calling from far away," she got a nice shiver in her massive, vacuous Grand Canyon of a pussy. What a dumb, meaningless bitch. Behind tears, I say I've never had cause for hope. And Clay says, "Not anymore. We're coming to play Hamlet. We've all been so moved by your strength." And Alistair shows me when Clay told me they were with me. He knew that he could and should ask him if he would or wanted to help. He says he knew I would have wasted away forever, knowing his daughter's malice, knowing we couldn't make the movie. How could he possibly leave me in such a state? To which I would reply, how could you raise such a creature? Seems a better question. God, he reduces me to some intellectual psychotic whore. To which someone replies, have you ever proved yourself otherwise? And I reminded her, in fact, she is a pseudo-intellectual. A moniker she attempts to dump on me, which I reprove with, no, I'm a bastard intellectual. I know nothing. You know nothing, but are convinced you know everything. Therefore pseudo. A bastard grows in you nonetheless. Pinnacle, apex evil. It really is perfect. The scene with Lisa at Clan with the line, "Where's your father?" Might require I give the Wook army a nice pregnant pause for the inevitable woo that follows. The Phoenix bus stop is as dumpy as one might suppose, and the desert winter compels one to stay inside. Though a kind, simple hillbilly, now attempting to sleep, gave me my first cigarette in 2 days, and therein I seek and find blessings. Tears, endless crying and suffering. Again I awoke to music. We'll meet again. Also played when she told me she was pregnant those weeks ago, to which she, Willow, tells me she plays it because she knows I love that song, because I love Stanley Kubrick. And a fervor of voices does their individual best, each one of them, to remind me once more that it wasn't pointless, it's just a couple months. Alistair assures me he doesn't want to ruin my life, he never wanted that, and that I just have to see the good, that I'm going to play Hamlet and it's just a couple months to put distance between us, and that they've all learned so much from me. However, all I see is disgusting bums, within and without. She, have unlocked a practical understanding in me. I have spades of book learning, but now I'm full spectrum. And there is a poetic irony surrounding all of it, with regards to my ambition for how I relate to the world, the arts. I have pure practical understanding. But with regards to eternity, I am enslaved in technical dogma. But now, however, there is overlap, and by my prescience I arrive at holistic psychic technique. In my rage, my frustration at the futility of it all, I blasted that horror with an image of a cyclops getting chainsawed through the top of its head, spraying ribbons of light, splitting open her mind's eye. And now they both, the three of them, the four of them, the seven of them, they all know they can never keep me out. Alistair laments letting her loose on me, and Clay tells me they don't want me devoted to destruction of her and everything any more than Alistair does. And Alistair also recognizes now how unnecessary all his concerns were in the beginning. Neither of us knew what the other one was and is, but now we see opposite sides of the same coin. And if he had just talked to me, all of it would have been avoided, and we would have found our way to where we are together. Because I'm honest and interested in the things I'm interested in, which on an abstract level are the same things he has always been interested in practically. High magic. Alistair interested in ritual, practice, and the yield. Myself interested in the formula and consideration. Beyond my internal strife, I look around at this bus station and see nothing but varying degrees of despair and misery. In here, we're all familiar with the rack. I suspected my mother was thinking about me as I arrived, but the prospect of her still being awake is slim. So I assume Freud holds reign, and she dreams about me. Feeling guilty for not sending me a little money before that flight was canceled, she knows I'm special. I'm assured I'm not supposed to be there, that when Clay, maybe 10 days ago, came into my mind, I was upset and reassured me that they were all with me. Alistair and Annabella were so moved they knew, and now we're all blubbering like beached whales, all of us, save Lilith. I don't care what she says. Alistair et al. On both coasts tell me I see so far, that I see it, that Clay asked me if playing Hamlet would help convince Alistair because Alistair asked him to help me play Hamlet, not to help convince him, but because he is convinced. But this deed, this action, this monstrous betrayal, he doesn't want it to define the film. And I don't either. Therein Alistair lays it all threadbare. That if we have upwards of 130 people all working the cinematic engine, and the entire time I'm blasting his daughter with psychic images of rage and violence, even if the film is excellent as it must be, none of us will ever associate with anything but. However, if we wait these months, and I go to Lisa and play Hamlet, we can come together like we should, excited and happy. The first perfect minute approaches. 1 minute to go. Less, it arrives. I devote this magic minute to the solitude of eternity upon the blank page. If I'm maniacally right for at least this 1 minute, unabated, perhaps some subtle deep truth might reveal itself. I'm told I am loved as the minute changes, and I continue sobbing. 9 hours and 4 minutes have passed. At 4:35, At 4:35, I awoke in sexual release, induced by my primary witch, Willow. It has happened before. She says it's to keep me calm, but we all know it is, in truth, to keep her wild. Though my psychic ear is not diminished due to fasting the last 30 hours, 36 thereabouts. I'm a tightrope walking in the sky palace of the mind, suspended in the trees of the rooftop gardens between castles in the air. I took a 15-minute break and smoked 2 hits of marijuana outside in the desert vista with another unfortunate named Roscoe, a young old man of 31 by way of 45 by way of meth pipe. Really nice guy, red thinning hair, stocky, short, simple. Says he's going to Florida from Phoenix to work for his family. He just had his second child 6 months ago. His disposition still seems prone to abuse. He said he would be returning to Phoenix, so the idea of him earning any real money between now and the end of the month vanishes under such time constraints. His IQ is likely 85 or less. I'll stop there. Yes, it is true about the sexual release, right? That's like, it's a joke to them, right? That they, right? And he did it to me as well. I think it's mentioned in this book somewhere while I was sleeping outside of a church. Right? Really, really sick people, you know? So, the novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino, right? Is he the one that did it, right? I don't know. There's a piece of direction for you, right? Is it his wife, right? I suspect he has some women involved in this formula, right? 2 women involved in this formula, right? Badass Cinema and Daniela, right? The primary witch, right? So, right? These are the games they like to play, right? And so I just let them violate my mind for a long time. Essentially for a year and a half. You know, if you just include the whole saga of everything, right? If you just say, okay, this begins in December of 2023, right? He jumped into my mind, right, and played his games, right, until January the 20th. But I kept writing because I expected to hear something, right? This ain't no. Oh, famous guy. No, I wrote him 50 pages. I expect you to reply, right? Right? Not constantly, right? That's the point, right? That I wrote him 4 letters in the summer and then didn't write anything else, right? Because it's weird. Like, I'm not a crazed fan. That's the point, right? So he shut down his production, right? Made an announcement in the press, played his games, right? But then I had short hair, and he said, oh gosh, well, no, guess it's not the one, because his hair's not long now, right? Right? And so, stopped accepting my mail. I wrote my 7,000 word essay, right? Published my 3 reviews. He canceled the film the following day when it's in the novel. I was at work, right? I closed my eyes, boom, he's right there, right? Letting me know, right? I got the message, right? And that was also the moment that he canceled the film, right? So, right, he was there constantly, right? From April the 17th, right, until now, essentially, right? And so, right, I let him run amok, right? Really, his campaign to destroy me began around August the 2nd, right, with Fish. All the way until January the 1st, December 31st, right? That's when, right? So that's like 120 days of him and the people around him violating my mind constantly, right? This is my point when I say it's a pathological psychology that he's engendered in both of our minds, right? There's no other way to interpret it, right? The goal was always for me to go, oh, death is better, bang, right? And that's now he's realizing, oh, he's not going to do that, right? And so, maybe the evil's done, like maybe the needles are done, because he knows I'm about to send an email to the Burbank International Film Festival. And I started laughing because I will say that I almost didn't want to read it as far as the sexual release, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating, right? And so he got what you wanted, right? He thinks that I did all of that to humiliate him. That's like, right? And I admit to, right, the first letter I wrote him, I said, now you know how it feels, right? And that was true then, and it's true now, right? That all of this could have been avoided with a single, sincere gesture, right? That's it, right? So, right? That's what I said. That's my point when I say I was initiating him as well. That he's, right? That the truth comes to you when you're not ready for it, right? That's the point, right? And so, right? it came to me in 2018, right? Really, like 2014. I took a massive dose of LSD. And when I closed my eyes, it was all there. You know? As far as seeing, right, the spiritual revelation that life is not an accident, right? So I suppose I'll stop talking about that for a time, right? The drafting compass, right, is the most important scientific instrument because it unlocks, right, a celestial resonance in your mind, right? That's why Freemasons use it as their symbol, right? They don't do it. They don't know anything. They don't talk about geometry at all in any of the books of Freemasonry beyond like very rudimentary, right? That's not, right? It's not what's here, order in space, right? Masons don't touch on any of that, right? But the people that built those Gothic cathedrals for 300 years, you know, in the 12th century, they used them, right? That they did use these, right? Right? And so, right? Embedded within every cubic centimeter of space, right, is a twofold manifold, right? That the first of which is an infinitely complex nesting of polyhedra. This is one example. This is a complex of 40 tetrahedra, which derives from the vector equilibrium, right? If I put 24, see, this isn't like this could be further matured in that way, right? I could put 24 more tetrahedra right here, right? 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3 on all 8, and that would give you the second dimension vector equilibrium, right? Appropriated as the 64 tetrahedron matrix by that charlatan Nassim Haramein, right? All these cats that use all these like spiritual geometry types, right? It's all from Buckminster Fuller, just so that like we're all on the same page here, right? That they're not talking about anything that hasn't been knowable by anyone for 50 years, right? So, infinitely complex. This is one example of it. This board, this celestial vision board is a myriad of examples. 29 arcs, right? This is high magic. That's a vortex of power. 88 subdivisions, right? Right? The ineffable, the tetragrammaton, right? Right? Jehovah, right? So all these things are nested perfectly inside of each other, right? So perfect in their nesting, right? Johannes Kepler, right? That it is dissolved into seeming non-existence, right? Ultimately dense. Everything that has been, is, or will ever be is embedded in every cubic centimeter of space as an abstract geometric archetypal manifold, right? This is the philosophy of Plato's allegory of the cave, right? Platonic forms, right? Russellian science, right? That all things reside as idea, right? And so diffused throughout that, right? How big is the universe? Is it a billion light years wide? Is it 1 inch wide? It's irrelevant, right? Measurement, all measurements, right? Even the good kind, right? Are reflections of our psychological ignorance, right? It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter how big things are, right? That's you're missing the plot, you know? Embedded within that hologram is a conscious resonance, right? Is a conscious field, right? Right? Often referred to as God, as deity, right? And so, both of these things exist in a perpetual state of rest. Right? Right? But eventually, the conscious field wishes to see its wisdom manifested, right? And it breathes, it moves, right? And so, if I pick this up, right? I can do a lot with it. You know, I can spin it, right? But what happens is, like, that the conscious field is diffused everywhere. It's all inside of this, right? And it's also on the outside, right? And so, to show his works, right, God begins to think, right? And so, but thinking, he means that by thinking, we mean that he's exerting pressure upon the geometric manifold, right? From the outside in, everything comes from the outside in, right? And so the pressure is exerted, right? It mutates the hologram, right? Engendering electric resistance as friction against itself, right? So what was once wide out here, the whole thing, right? It's getting pushed to this point, right there in the middle, right? Until eventually, I need this one more second. It can no longer remain inert space and erupts into incandescence as matter. And so the specific dihedral, right? The angle or angles, right? With which the Almighty imposes itself as a pressure condition upon the abstract geometric manifold reflects what it materializes as in the physical world, right? So, right, and this is Bucky Fuller, right? This isn't me, right? Like this is the holographic model, pre-Brum and Bone, right? Like if you put this in a sphere, right, and then you cast a circle around it, that's called a great circle, right? And so you can do that an infinite variety of ways, right? And this is the dignity of God's omniscience, right? That only God can see all of it, right? But like I said in my other video, it's reversed, right? So God pushes its knowing through the all to manifest the thing. But we have to do it backwards. We have to meditate on a thing to experience the all, right? And so all instances of clairvoyance, right? All instances of psychic phenomenon derive from the mind of the adept, right? Tapping into the non-locality of the conscious field. That's nothing else has ever been occurring, right? And so if I do take a leap, right, I would say that what is occurring is quantum entanglement, right? That the mind's eye, right, is your psychic aperture. And so through meditation, the adept harmonizes the atomic structure of their brain with the material of the disparate locale. If it's a person, right? If it's a place, right? If it's a thing, right? That's of course that's not in any of the books, but it's inherently obvious, right? But all instances of psychic clairvoyance, psychic phenomenon, telepathy, psychokinesis, etc., healing the sick, right? All derive from the mind of the adept tapping into the non-locality of space, right? Remote viewing, that's what's occurring, right? So, right, see what's good in your life. I'll leave you. Uplift your soul to God. Know that life is not an accident. Quentin Tarantino is a dangerous man, right? And the people around him all insulate a sick, evil man, right? And the Burbank Film Festival is giving a Lifetime Achievement Award to a guy who appropriates spousal abuse.